That's
Tuji, Shaji, Rizo, Lo, Jinji, Medo, Diji, Bonjo, Lo, Sirge, Dumbo, Shaji, Jabo, Jolo, Chazo, Lo, Lama, Da, Gombo, Jambi, Yang, Lo, Omara Baba Nade, Omara Baba Nade, Omara Baba Cheja Tamje Sebe Jayan Jogen Dele Jobe Nye Tele Zebe Dong Hawa Jange Lame Shala Zeden Cheje Chenra Vesre Je Dale Demo Memba Kada Bodhi Bobe Nawa Kanze Tawara Deba Je Tewara Dena Gumbo Janyan Tini Yine Waya Songra Esho Sashi Bishi Chushi Medo Dang Deva Linshi Degema Sanje Shindo Mide Pova Ye Dogen Guru Ratna Mendala Puza Menda Zamenda Sa Sama Ye Hong Simje Namje Samba Ta Loye Cheta Cheta Chejong Jeje Kalo Korado So
Yeah, so we begin with right motivation. So this 37 practices of Bodhisattva belongs to Mahena path. So Mahena motivation is I must attend fully Buddhahood, Sego, Mother Sentient Beings. So in the purpose, I'm studying this precious Mahena Buddha Dharma. Let's just brief reflect motivation. So now this 37 practices of Bodhisattva are composed by the great Bodhisattva Ngusha Tome. So this 37 practice has two parts, preliminary parts and the main part. So we still talk about the preliminary part. There's 7 preliminary. We completed the first 5. So today we begin with the 6th preliminary. So preliminary is really referring is actual cause of cultivating bodhicitta. So in order to cultivate bodhicitta, we must have these 7 preliminaries. So it's a very important. So 6th one is, I think, I'm not sure we finished last week, 5th, we finished 5th one or not, I can't remember. Anyone remember where we finished last?
Yes, we finished the 5th one and we're on the 6th one now.
That's great, thank you. So there's two aspects of obstacles. One we call the causal aspect of obstacle. Other is a condition aspect of obstacles. So causal part of obstacle is one's own, such as defile our mind or obscurations. And the condition aspect of obstacle is others. So here, to overcome condition aspect obstacle, one must abandon wrong friend, wrong associations. So we talk about this sixth one. What I'm saying is, if one associates with the wrong type of person or people, it's very dangerous. The reason it's a danger is due to this wrong association, it may kill our opportunity to practice the Mahayana path. So how it will kill or steal or damage or destroy our opportunity to practice Mahayana path is due to associate wrong type of people or wrong type of person. What it influences us is to increase our three poison minds, such as the desire, anger, so forth. So when we so much control this mind with this poison mind, it completely take us away from the Dharma. So that's the reason it's so important to recognize how dangerous to associate wrong type of friend. That's the first one. And the second, due to this wrong type of person association, it kind of take us opportunity to hear such as a Mahayana study first, to hear Dharma from the teacher. And then when there's no opportunity to hear the Dharma, then second, contemplate Dharma, but the Dharma not going to be there. If there's nothing to realize or cognition what the actual essence of the Buddha Dharma, then there's nothing to meditate. There's nothing to meditate. So in this way, one may lose the opportunity to practice Dharma. This is the second disadvantage if you associate wrong type of person. And the third obstacle is, particularly the Mahayana point of view. Due to associate wrong type of person, it declines or eventually lose, such as a practice of loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicittas. So in this way, due to this wrong type of association or wrong type of person, what it does is like it loses all sorts of what you call the motivation to practice Dharma, and then loving kindness, compassion, so forth. So in this way, one must seize them as kind of a very vicious kind of a tiger or poisonous snake, because when we see this vicious animal, instantly we're not just going to stay in front of them, rather we're going to escape or run away from that due to protect our life. So similarly, in order to protect the life of the practice Dharma, we should run away from them. So this is what we call the practice of Bodhisattvas. So more you associate a wrong type of person, the more you're going to decline our good qualities. And not only that, there's so many other disadvantages. Also, one of the mindfulness sutra stated, if we associate with the wrong type of person, what it does for us is, what it's going to do to us is, it's going to increase our desire, anger, and ignorance mind. Same like when you close to associate someone who is what we call the pandemic, eventually you're going to get that disease from the person. So that's the reason here, highly recommended, motivate, you should stay aware those who has a wrong view or wrong quality of personalities. So this again often I try to clarify, don't be taken the wrong way. Another make sure is we don't use in a contradictory way. So contradictory means like, because we're talking about Mahayana teaching. So Mahayana teaching is teach us how to kindness to all sentient beings. So here we're saying we should run away certain type of beings. So it's a little bit contradicting, you know. So in order to not to contradict this, when I'm as a beginner, not strong enough, so if I'm as I said, wrong type of person, those gonna more influence negative in me, and that way I may lose the Dharma. So neither going to helpful to myself nor to other sentient beings. Therefore, there's a disadvantage than advantage. Therefore, you should keep distance from those type of person. But we're not saying you should keep away those who has a negative forever. You know, once you become stronger, you know how to turn negative into positive. You're in a position to help other sentient beings. You should not run away from them. Rather, you should go for them and help them to overcome their negative qualities. So if you look at that point of view, it's not contradicting. Yeah. So when you are weak, you should keep aware in order to not lose the strength of the mind to practice Buddha Dharma. Once you get strong enough, then you should kind of go and help those who has the problems. So that's the meaning of the sixth preliminary, removing condition aspect of an obstacle for Dharma. Because if you not remove this condition obstacle, eventually it may destroy your own strength of practice Buddha Dharma. So that's the point. Okay, now we move to the sixth point. Again, there's a causal aspect of favorable condition, and then condition aspect of favorable condition. So here we talk about condition aspect of favorable condition to practice Buddha Dharma. So first, I just read out the root text. 6.1. It is the practice of Bodhisattva, the cherished, noble, or sublime spiritual friend more than one's own body, by relying on which your false cares, and your good quality increase like a waxing moon. So now it's opposite. When you associate right type of Dharma friend, or when you follow the right teacher, it has immensely beneficial oneself. So first beneficial is myself, I used to have such a strong desire, anger, has a many faulty qualities. Since I follow closely associated with the right type of person or right type of teacher, it declines my follow the right teacher, I may not have such a inspiration to hear the Dharma, another encourage and interest, so forth. But then more it kind of boosts my inspiration, encourage, interest to hear the Buddha Dharma. So this can increase my interest to hear the Dharma. So through the hearing the Dharma, I more have an inspiration, courage to contemplate or analyze, try to find out the bottom of what's the truth. And then once I found the truth, I really cherish that one. You take it as a very precious and implementing that through the meditation. So in this way, my study, contemplation, meditation increase like a waxing moon. That's a second benefit. And the third, the most important as a Mahayana practitioner, the benefit is, before I, as I said, meeting such a great master or teacher, I have having a lacking of loving kindness towards others, as well as a compassion about each other. Since I, as I said, follow the right guru and the friend or Dharma friend, increase my loving kindness. It's not just intellectual kind of loving kindness, rather genuine. It opens my heart when I see someone some form of unhappiness, I always kind of wish that person to have happiness. If someone sees I see it as a suffering, I sincerely wish what I can do to overcome that person from suffering. When I see someone in a trap in the samsara, what I can help to bring that person out of the samsara to gain the Buddhahood, such as we call the Bodhisattva. So these things kind of going to increase like a waxing moon. So these are the benefit. Therefore, we must kind of look for a right type of a friend as a Dhamma friend, or right type of the teacher is so important. So once we found such as a right Dhamma friend, right teacher, then we must cherish that person or people more valuable than one's own life. One's own life is very important for personal point of view, but this life gives us very limited. But once we associate with the minor friends, minor teacher, what we can receive from them is limitless. So in this way, one must identify the right type of friend or teacher, so precious, so rare. It's very hard to recognize, firstly. Secondly, even you recognize it's very hard to find. And the third is very hard to keep. So therefore, we should put more encourage, kind of what I call the courage to keep up and treat them or see them as far more precious than one's own life. It's the practice Bodhisattvas. And then one of the few other common saying like you should not be satisfying. Usually we say you should be grateful when you, no matter how little you may have, you should be grateful. But here says, when you meet the right type of friend, the right teacher, you should not satisfy. I need to more kind of spend time with this friend. I need to spend more time from this teacher, because the more I spend, the more opportunity to reduce my three poison mind, increase my study, contemplation, meditation, increase my love and compassion and bodhicitta. So in this way, you never ever think, I have enough this friend, I have enough this teacher, now I need to go away from them, never be in that way satisfied. You always stay in unsatisfaction. I need to more this kind of person or people so important to remember in that way. And then the reason is that there's a tremendous beneficial, temporary beneficial, and ultimate beneficial. So temporary beneficial is more we associate right type of friend or teacher, due to their influence us, it declining our non-virtuous deed. Absence of non-virtuous does not exist to reborn three lower realms in the future. That's the first benefit. Second benefit is when we associate with the right friend, right teacher, it reminds us the danger of samsara. Because that way, one day we develop the renunciation, it frees us from samsara. That's the second benefit. Third, to associate that kind of friend and the teacher, encourage us to develop loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. Out of that, one day we will attain Buddhahood, second sentient beings. So in this way, there's a tremendous value and beneficial to have such a friend, such a teacher. Therefore, once we found it, we should not be lose them, treat them more cherished than your own life. It's a practice of Bodhisattva. So this is a sixth preliminary practice. Now we move to the seventh and last preliminary practice. First, I just read the root text. The worldly gods who are themselves imprisoned in samsara, how can they protect anyone else? Hence, rely on the three jewels which are fallible, and take refuge in them is the Bodhisattva practice. So now the entrance to the Buddha Dharma is the taking refuge. So first, again, there's a right object of refuge, valid, or you may say valid object of refuge, invalid object of refuge. So first, invalid object of refuge is the worldly God, such as the desire God or formless realm God. So worldly God. The reason they are invalid objects of refuge is when you look at those objects, worldly God, what their condition, or what condition of them, their condition is they're not free themselves from prison of samsara. They're still in a samsara. The reason means like they still have this grasping of self. So grasping of self kept them in the samsara. So that's the first faulty quality of these beings. Secondly, due to this still exists grasping of self, then they have a karma and defilement. So karma, defilement are like a chain, bind them in the samsaras. So they don't have a wisdom, free them from samsara, not to break a chain of samsara, such as karma and defilement. So this person is not position to help others to free from the samsara, neither to teach us how to break a chain of samsara, such as cause, karma and defilement. So in this way, they may be powerful in terms of worldly point of view. They may give you good health, they may give you longevity, they may give you material success, but they're not in a position to guide us where to free out us from the samsara, neither to attain Buddhahood. So in that sense, they are not the right objects of what we call the refuge. Because they're not themselves, don't have wisdom to free themselves, then there's no position to help others to free us from samsara. So in this way, one must take refuge in the right object of refuge. So right object of refuge is the triple gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha never deceive us. The deceive us means like it's important. It's important. So right now, we so much believe our own desire mind, but end of this very desire mind deceiving us, because instead of giving us happiness, giving us more suffering. We so much trust our anger, says I'm protecting you, but instead of protecting me, it destroys me. So those are wrong objects of refuge. So what Buddha says, what Dharma give us opportunity, what Sangha as a kind of support us to free us, such as a temporary three poison mind, and in the long run, it free us the grasping of self, such as ignorance mind. So in this way, one must fully kind of task to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So in this way, taking refuge in the triple gem is the practice of bodhisattvas. But again, it's very important when we say Buddha, first we need to know the qualities of the Buddha. Of course, there's infinite qualities, but we put into, I may say, 4 qualities one must recognize to identify the objects of what we call the Buddha. So first quality is, we call the Buddha is Lord of all beings. Why we call the Buddha is the Lord of all beings means like his great compassion. Buddha's compassion never discriminate. Whether you are close to him or distant from him, he always treats every being equally. So this is a really kind of to prove is when you have a genuine compassion towards others, the eyes of the compassion, there's no differences. All sentient beings are equal. So in this way, Buddha compassion sees everyone's equal. That's the first quality of the Buddha. And the second quality of the Buddha is he is protector of all sentient beings. So reason why we call the protector of sentient beings is like a Buddha, whether you make offering, respect, follow him or not, you follow him or you against him. Regardless, Buddha always kind of put effort to help all sorts of sentient beings, whether you follow him or against him, respect him or disrespect him, treat everyone equal. So in this way, he is not a protector just for or just mere for Buddhist followers. Rather, he is protector of all sentient beings. So that's the second quality of the Buddha. And third quality of the Buddha is he is what we call the most powerful beings. Why we call the powerful means like a most powerful means like a someone who completely free from the fear. There's no more fear. Then you'll be the most powerful person. But we don't call that you are the most powerful because you are the president of such a wealthy country. You're not the powerful person because you're full of fear. Therefore, you need so much a security guard. So you're not free from the fear. But Buddha, wherever he travels, hell runs to the God runs, there's nothing required to bodyguard. There's no fear, fearlessness. So fearlessness means like a Buddha free from both obscuration of defilement, both obscuration of omniscience. There's no more kind of a obscuration. Therefore, it's a fearlessness. So, and that's that we call that you are the most powerful person. So Buddha has a third qualities. And the fourth quality is Buddha has the wisdom, Buddha has a kindness, and Buddha has a capability or skill where to help all sentient beings free us from all sorts of fear of lower realms, fear of samsara, and the fear of selfishness, and fear of ordinary conception, and so forth. So in this way, Buddha is remover of all sentient beings from fear. So anyone who has this four quality, that person is right object refuge. So these are the kind of you should look for, whether this person is worthy to take refuge or not, is you have to look these four conditions, four qualities. Anyone who has the four qualities is the right person to take refuge. So that's the Buddha. So when the Buddha is perfect, then of course his speech, his teaching going to be perfect. Yeah. So in this way, teaching is the second object refuge. And then third, the person who follow, person who implementing teaching of the Buddha and genuinely is the Sangha. So these three are the objects, what we call the object refuge. Object refuge. So in this way, as a practitioner, we must begin to take refuge in the Triple Gem. That's how to begin the general Dharma, particular Mahayana path. So we completed the preliminary part of the 37 practice Bodhisattva. So we 7-1. Now we move to the main part of the 37 practice Bodhisattva. So main part has main teaching of the 37 practice Bodhisattva has three parts. The first one is a small person, second part is a middle person, and third part is a greater person's part. So first we talk about small person's part. Okay, so again, I just read the root verse. Both suffering in the lower realms are the result of negative karma. Therefore, even at the course of one's own life, not to commit any negative karma is the Bodhisattva practice. So first, again, many of us I heard, I've met, people don't like to hear the such as suffering of hell realms, suffering of hungry ghosts. The reason they don't like to hear them, because hearing such a tremendous, unbearable suffering, it disturbs the mind. It makes them unhappy. It makes them suffer. So this reason, lots of people don't like to hear even name of the hell, hungry ghosts, or lower realms, because it makes you fear, suffering, unhappiness, so forth. So just imagine if you're born in that state, what kind of suffering going to be? It's unbearable, suffering going to be experienced. So all this unbearable suffering that exists in such three lower realms are not just come without a cause. Without cause, none of this having the suffering of these three realms. No kind of wrong causes or wrong condition create this suffering to them. So that means like every single being who experiences the suffering of hell, hungry ghosts, animal, created by its own cause and the right cause and conditions. So what's the benefit out of it is like if you really fear of hearing, if you're really unhappy, suffering or fear, just mere hearing the suffering, if you don't really want to hear these things, it's avoidable. Reason is avoidable because this suffering created by its own cause and right cause and condition. As long as we not commit the cause, as long as we not commit the right condition, then this suffering won't exist. It's avoidable. So therefore, we must know what cause, what condition to create these awful sufferings. So cause and condition of this suffering is 10 non-virtues. Because in non-virtues, there's infinite non-virtues, but infinite non-virtues, we sum up into 10 non-virtues, mentally, vocally, and physically. So mentally, every non-virtue sum up into 3: coveting mind, harmful thought, and wrong view. And vocally, we sum up all the non-virtue into 4: telling lie, divisive word, harsh word, and meaningless, what I call the idle talk. Then all the non-virtues physically, there's infinite, we sum up into 3: killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. So these 10 are the cause of all sorts of suffering, unbearable suffering of lower realms, all sorts of suffering that we human that we experiences, creator of all these 10 non-virtues. So in this way, now we have one thing we are fortunate, we human. We have a choice, we have a freedom. While we have a choice and freedom, so we should not commit any of these 10 non-virtues. If you love really yourself, if you really care for yourself, because these 10 are going to give you the most kind of suffering, nothing more than anything else. So this way, even cost your own life, you should not commit any of these 10 non-virtuous deeds. So in this way, again, it's harder, say, I need to stop these 10 non-virtues. It's kind of suppressing. That's not the right way to avoid 10 non-virtuous deeds. The simplest way, easiest way to avoid 10 non-virtues is turn your mind to the virtues, turn your speech into virtues, turn your body into virtues. Because when you turn the virtues, while you're in a virtuous state of mind, body, speech, it's very comfortable, your life. And what it brings the result is infinite beneficials. So in this way, constantly keep while we have this freedom, when we have the opportunity, keep our body, mind, speech in the virtues. Because when you're in that state, you are really feel the freedom. You really can see the sense of peace. The moment your mind away from the virtues, there's no sense of peace. There's no sense of freedom. So there's so much disadvantage. Therefore, one of our main practice of Bodhisattva is to recognize these 10 non-virtues are so dangerous, nothing else can harm us more than these 10 non-virtues. Therefore, even course of my life, I should not commit while I have a freedom. Because if you don't have a freedom, you're born under the dictatorship, then you don't have a choice. Whatever dictator kind of pose on you to order to do this, no choice, you have to do it. But we're not under the dictator. We are living such a freedom choice to what we want to do. So when we have this kind of opportunity, make sure we not commit these 10 non-virtues. Second, one's own benefit, let alone, talk about to benefit for others. Yeah. So that's the first small person's practice to commit virtues to avoid the non-virtues. So once you not commit non-virtues, then next life there's not exist to reborn 3 lower realms. So avoiding oneself temporarily from lower realms is a small person's part. So we're seeking happiness within in samsara, yeah, the small person's part. Now, second main topic is the middle person's part. Next one is verses 9. The pleasure of the 3 worlds are like a dew drops blades of grass, subject to instant disintegration. What is unchanging is the supreme state of nirvana. Then to aspire, this is a practice. This is a Bodhisattva practice. So we now talk about middle person's part. So now again, many of us, we try to live virtuous life as a desirance. And then some of us, we say that every desire object is a suffering of change. So we want to free from that, we do such as shamatha meditation. Out of shamatha, one will reborn in form and formless realms. So we think, and that's there's a great sense of peace, there's a great sense of joy, there's a great sense of happiness. We try to reach that state. So again, there's a mistake. The mistake is, there is a certain happiness in the desire realm. There's a certain happiness in the form and formless realms, but those happiness is a very short period of time. Really it's important how much we put in effort to gain desire realm happiness, how much we put in effort to gain form and formless realms happiness is not worth it. We work entire our life just sake of a very short happiness. It's not much point. So here kind of really giving us kind of warning, you just put in so much effort, sake of just tiny happiness. It's not worth it. So what kind of happiness exists in the samsara is like the dew top of the grass, like overnight. It takes whole night to create this dew tip of the grass. But then it doesn't take that long to melt it because as soon as sunrise, it melts. So similarly, it takes a lot of effort to gain samsaric happiness, just one tiny negative enough to destroy all this happiness. So in this way, it's not worth it to put that much effort, something not going to last that long, only a very short time. Therefore, so now we put more our effort more into something can last forever. That's more worthy to put effort. So what kind of everlasting happiness is to attain other arhatship or attain Buddhahood. So once you attain that state, then nothing to lose because it's beyond the contaminated, beyond the compounded, it's uncompounded. So this is the ultimate happiness. Once you had attained ultimate happiness, then nothing to lose. Besides ultimate happiness or the conventional happiness, it's hard to gain once you gain, very easy to lose. So here recommended, you should not put all this effort, something you're going to lose it. Rather, you put effort to gain something you're never going to lose it. So that is to aiming for to gain enlightened state. So this is a second main topic, middle person's path. Now we move to the next, the main kind of practice of the great person's path. Okay, so I just a little bit rushing because we need to cover in the session 37. So I just a little bit rushing each verse. Okay, now we move to the verses 10. The mothers who have been kind to me since the beginningless time, if they are suffering, then what is the use of my happiness? So in order to liberate infinite sentient beings, generate bodhicitta is the practice of Bodhisattva. So now Mahayana path. The Mahayana path is union of the emptiness and great compassion. So again, it's big topic, topic-wise, it's a huge topic. Then person who explaining this topic is very limited knowledge. So it's very hard to kind of really describe this huge topic of emptiness and great compassion. But then same time, it's not right to say, this is a big topic, I have limited knowledge, I'm not going to say anything. Then it's no point to I become in a Zoom and try to say something to you. So within my limited, I may explain a little bit about emptiness and great compassion first. Because without knowing these two, then there's no Mahayana path. Mahayana path is union of this emptiness and compassions. Because the Mahayana path is take us state of, we call the non-abiding nirvana. Non-abiding nirvana means like through the Mahayana path, take us beyond the samsara, so we not dwell in the samsara. Also, this Mahayana path take away from the nirvana state, because if in nirvana, then there's no position to help sentient beings. So it takes us beyond the samsara in nirvana, is we call the non-abiding nirvana, Mahapriya nirvana, non-abiding nirvana. So how it works with emptiness, it frees us from the samsara. Compassion, great compassion, free us nirvana. So this reason, this two-part requirement to attain this non-abiding state. So first, when we say emptiness, so emptiness is, generally speaking, the emptiness of a person, emptiness of phenomena, two things, emptiness of self and a phenomena. So this emptiness of self and phenomena has a certain realization, both exists Sharvakayana and Pradakayana. Pradakayana, Sharvakayana has a realization of emptiness self and the phenomena. But that emptiness not going to take beyond the, what we call the non-abiding state. So this is the Mahayana perspective of emptiness. So Mahayana perspective of emptiness is realize of emptiness, not only just the self and the phenomena, but it frees us from all the four extremes, existent, non-existent, both and neither. So this is just a very brief way I try to explain the entire aspect of emptiness. So it's a much more greater than what the Sharvaka and the Pritaka realize of emptiness, far more greater. So Sharvaka and Pritaka realize emptiness is maybe say 5%. So 95% still not realize it. So this only teach us in the Mahayana path, the remaining 95% of emptiness. So this is an immense kind of a pervasive kind of aspect of emptiness. And then great compassion is three types of compassion. Object is all sentient beings. So first is we see suffering all beings. That's the first one. Second is all the, what we call the impermanent acts of sentient beings. Third is all the illusion aspect of the sentient beings. So in this way, this compassion cover far more greater than any other schools. So this we call the great compassion. So through the union of this great compassion and emptiness, it leads us beyond the samsara in nirvana. So that very part is we call the Mahayana part. Yeah. So in order to do implement that bodhicitta. So there's two parts. So first we talk about the cultivating bodhicitta. So cultivating bodhicitta is means like it's important. Again, we need to kind of create this view. At the moment our view is very limited, but we need to break this limited, make into vastness. So important. So make a vastness our view is think about this mind that we understanding, this mind that we're thinking, this mind we're planning is not just begin this morning. This mind not begin day we were born. This mind began from beginningless time. So timeless, this mind that you and I have. So this timeless time, we born, we die, is infinite times. So this in this infinite birth and death, each and every time we have a parents, mother and father who give us birth, same as in this life. So these mother sentient beings are the most kind. That you cannot find more kinder than your parents, particularly one's mother. Yeah. So these mother sentient beings are kind of suffering right in front of us. When they're suffering right in front of us, no matter how much you success yourself, no matter how much joy to yourself, it's not going to make, if you're really a kind of sensible person, there's no way you can be happy when you see your mother suffering right in front of you. How can you be enjoy your life? How can you be happy yourself when your mother suffers in front of you? You know? So in this way, without thinking of them, we're so much driven, we're so much caught up this self kind of centered mind. You need to, here says, we must be ashamed for ourselves, you know, what kind of drug that we're taking, we're not thinking of, there's no room to think about it, all about me, day and night, you know. So that kind of person, there's no way kind of to enter into the minor part, you know. So in this way, if you really genuinely seeking happiness, not just ordinary happiness, you really want to wish to have a greater of happiness, then you must make your loved ones to be happy. You know, if your loved ones are all happy, no matter how little you may have, but it brings immense happiness to your life. You know, I'm not in a good condition, but all my loved ones so good condition that enough alone is enough to make us happiness. So in this way, as a Mahayana practitioner, we should not be kind of caught up in a self-centered mind. As a Mahayana practitioner, we should not seek one's own liberations. You know, rather, we should attain Buddhahood, like all these mother sentient beings. So this is anyone who has this intention, wish to attain Buddhahood, like all mother sentient beings. The moment you have that mind, you are not ordinary samsara beings. You are not self-centered mind. That very moment, you are the bodhisattvas. So in this way, one must see that first is important, self-centered mind has lots of disadvantage. There's not any advantage at all. But when you cherish others, you have so much advantage, but very little disadvantage. First, one need to recognize that one. Based on that, then we need to train this mind. How I can turn this mind or train this mind, turn to become like a bodhicitta, to attain Buddhahood, like all sentient being. When you are aware and when you try to turn train or turn, so that very moment you are practicing Bodhisattva. Yeah, Bodhisattva not necessary. You're already in a path who's very successful. Bodhisattva means like someone who sees the value having this intention to attend Buddhahood psychoscientifically, yet I don't have that mind. So I want to have that mind. So you try to gain that mind or cultivate that mind. Even you have the intention, you become like a mind practitioner. So this is called the practice of Bodhisattvas. Yeah, so this was the motivation. Yeah, so that one. So now we move to the next one. So this is Vishin Bodhicitta. Now actually meditating the Bodhicitta, there's two: conventional Bodhicitta and absolute Bodhicitta. So first we talk about conventional Bodhicitta. So first I just read again root text. All suffering results from craving for personal happiness. The completely enlightened state is born from the wish to help others. So perfect exchange of one's happiness with others' sufferings is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So this is not engaging bodhicitta. Previous one is a wishing bodhicitta or inspiration bodhicitta. Now it's engaging bodhicitta. So engaging bodhicitta, there's two parts: conventional and absolute. So first, kind of a conventional bodhicitta. So conventional bodhicitta also has the two parts. First one is a meditative state and post-meditative state. So first we talk about post-meditative state, we do this exchanging self and others. Yeah? And then post-meditative state, all the unfavorable condition transform into the path, turn into the path. So first we talk about meditative state. So first, think about myself and every individual sentient being in this samsara, whatever they may experience, small or big type of difficulties or sufferings. Again, I mentioned earlier, none of them comes from without causes. None of them come from wrong cause and condition. Each and every suffering, regardless of small or big, comes from its own cause and the right conditions. So in this way, prime cause, all the suffering that I'm going through and you're going through, everyone going through, is self-cherishing mind. Self-cherishing mind. This is root cause of all the sufferings. This is a really important point, you know. Every one of us work hard to free us from the discomfort. Reason we want to be free us from discomfort, we're looking for the comfortable life. We're looking for the happy life. You know, we have intention to do something good for myself. We may have intention to do something good for others, but we don't have a wisdom where to do good things for ourselves, where to help something to others. So that's the problem. So here, teach us the wisdom. If you sincerely wish to attain your own comfort, free from the difficulties, then cause of this discomfort caused by this self-cherishing mind. So now this teaching wake us up all the time. What I'm doing is just keep this alive, this self-cherishing mind. Keep healthy this self-cherishing mind. Everything that we do, you know, keep this self-cherishing is strong. The more you're stronger this self-cherishing mind, the more you're going to be discomfort yourself. The more you're going to be unhappiness. So that's not the right way to help yourself. It's not the right way to help others. So in this way, one must recognize root problems. Root problem is self-cherishing, always about me, nothing about others. This is the main cause of all the suffering, discomfort that I and you, regardless of small or big, comes from that. And then you look into Bodhisattvas, you look into Buddhas, they have immense comfort and happiness. Where this happiness comes from, also their happiness not just come without a cause, neither wrong cause and condition. It has a right cause, it has a cause, the cause is a right cause. So right cause is cherishing to others, always thinking others the first place, you are the second place. You know, we are putting ourselves the first, others as a second. So in this way, in the Shantideva Buddha Avatara, the way of Bodhisattva says, there's not need much evidence to prove cherishing self is a cause of suffering, cherishing the other is a cause of happiness. Just look sentient beings' condition, just look Buddha's condition. Itself is a proof, you know. We are suffering, Buddha has a happiness. The reason is our mentality is different, because we mentality is always about me, not about others. The Buddha's, Bodhisattva's mentality is always others, not or hardly there's for self. So this is proven, you know, cherishing to self is the origin of all the suffering. Cherishing to other is the origin of all the happiness and joy and comfort. So therefore, if one sincerely wish to have comfort, joy, happiness, then turn this mind to cherish others. If we don't wish to have a discomfort, suffering, train this mind kind of what we call the overcome this self-cherishing mind. Yeah. So this is the practice of Bodhisattvas. So this is so in this way, now we need to exchanging self and others. So exchanging self and others as ordinary person who so much grow up in a self-centered mind, almost impossible to exchanging self and others, you know. But then we need to kind of aware the value and the effect, the practice of this changing self and others. So it means like now, first, when you, it's always good to begin from the person you love the most, you know. So this person having difficulties, whatever way, mentally, emotionally, or physically, economically, whatever way, just think about that person's difficulty. Just try to picture in your mind, or you just feel. Then you really don't want to see your loved ones, what he or she going through. And then in this way, if you really love the person, I'm happy to take that to myself. You know, makes me happy when he or she free from that miserable state. So in this way, taking their miserable to oneself, it not make you miserable. It rather make you feel kind of worthy to be friend of the person, worthy to be person that I love. You know, it makes me happy rather than miserable. So in this awareness, I need to take the miserable from loved ones, because that miserable makes him or her unhappy. Due to that, it makes me tremendously unhappy myself. When I take that from him or her, he or she be happy, that makes me happiness. So that kind of mental attitude, awareness, is the right mind to take other suffering to oneself. You know, without that, you think about, this person suffering, I want to take the suffering to myself. I'm okay to miserable, this person happy. That's a very hard part. It's all not attractive, you know. So in this way, you have to look different point of view. When I take that person's miserable myself, he or she free, be happy, that makes me happy. So taking miserable too is not making miserable, rather it makes you happiness. So that's taking other suffering to oneself. And then you look into yourself. I have a so fortunate, nice life, wonderful family, have a great job. You know, my loved one hasn't got what I got. So again, wish all these my good things offer to them. So this we talk of first meditative step. No, actually we're taking or giving. First we have to meditate. Train this mind to solid, clear and focus. Then one day, when this mind is strong enough, you may be ready to actually exchange yourself on others. Until your mind not strong enough, you may not ready to actually exchange yourself on others. So in this way, offer all your good things to others. So when your good things are offered to others, they again think of how they're going to feel happy, how they're going to feel excited. So that makes me happy. To give him or her, you can see the person how kind of a joy to receive such a nice present from you. So not only that person be happy who receiving your present, but that really joy that you feel, you see, it makes immense joy to yourself. So in this way, giving is not just only make others happiness, but it gives you even greater happiness for oneself. So if you have an awareness of that, then giving is not the difficulties. So in this way, it's so important when you take other suffering, how much it brings you feel meaningful for your life. When you give your happiness to others, how much it brings happiness. So more you focus on that, that makes it easier to exchange self on others. So that's first, we need to train in the mind. And then second, whenever there's opportunity, do a little bit exchanging self on others. Someone's discomfort, take yourself, let them to be free from their discomfort, how you feel about it. If you feel great out of it, then you increase that, taking more from others. So one day, you will be in a position to take all the miserable of others to yourself. Not only just one person, entire world, because the mind is so powerful, Right now, we're making this mind very limited. Reality, this mind is limitless. So that's the reason we exercise this mind. If the mind is limited, then there's no point to study. There's no point to train, because no matter how much you study, no matter how much you practice, mind always going to limit as its nature, which is limited. But the reality, the mind is not limited. It's limitless. Therefore, it's worthy to study how we can expand this mind, how we can make this mind a vastness. So that's the whole purpose we study and practice. So that's the nature of the mind. That's the nature of the mind. There's no limit. Nature of the mind. There's no boundary. It's boundaryless. So with this awareness, we need to do this exchanging self and other. So this is a prime practice of Mahayana. The most advanced practice of Mahayana is exchanging self and others. So this one. Now we move to the next one. Post meditative state. So I'll just do one verse and then we stop here. Okay, verses 12. Even if someone due to greed either steal all your possessions or enstages others to do so, dedicating one's body, wealth, all the virtues of the three times to that person is the Bodhisattva practice. So this is now kind of very useful in everyday life, in our ordinary life. What it says is like, we living the world is not easy one, very challenging world, very difficult world. So world that we live in difficult, I'm not talking about this environment that we live in. They're not causing that much difficulty to us. I'm talking world is like a I and you kind of a people who have a lots of ignorance, defiled. So more ignorance, defiled people come together, makes this world a kind of difficult world. The creator of the difficult world is I and you and all sentient beings. So when we live in that environment, especially this 21st century, as we know, we become more greedier. The world kind of motivates us to be more greedier, name of success, name of professional, name of a high achiever. That's beautiful, sweet name, successful person, you need to be successful, you need to be a high achiever, you need to have a big goal. So nice, but all they motivate us to increase our defilement. So more we increase our defilement, the world become more suffering, no matter how much we materially succeed. So in this really proving us, 21st century, the most issue that we have in this world is mental issues. Everyone nowadays, hardly you cannot find one single person who hasn't got mental issues. The creator of this mental issues is defilement, nothing else. So these defile, we constantly kind of increase in our mind. So we live in that kind of world, So when we live in that world, we are so greedy, we are so kind of wanting to have everything for myself. So in that environment, we just kind of almost kind of taking advantage from others. Or whenever there's opportunity, some of them take advantage in such unskillful way, called robber or thief. Then many of us are robber, in skillful ways. We stealing others' idea, we stealing others' opportunity, we stealing others' possession, we are stealing others' name. Somehow we all do the same job, but one is more in a professional way, we are all right. Others are in professional way, they're victimized. But really, we try to grabbing each other's kind of possessions, so forth. So when somebody take advantage from me, take things from me, my kind of things that I love, things that I care, things that are precious. When somebody is stealing or disrespect, take everything from me, so natural reaction, response is, I get upset, I get angry. Due to that, mentally, I'm going to have a negative thought towards him or her. Verbally, I'm going to say such a nasty word. Physically, if I'm strong enough, I'm going to bash. If I'm not strong enough, I'm going to show some kind of a negative express. So that's how we respond. So when you respond, I think I'm responding because of what he did to me or she did to me, done something to harm or cause some unpleasant to that person. But the reality, you're hurting yourself more than hurting to others. You become like a double victim. First, other person took advantage from you. Now you're creating this negative mind, body, speech. You're creating harm to yourself. There's no winner. You're rather double loser. That's how we respond. That's how we kind of, this a culture that we live in. So these are very unhealthy, useless. So now minor point of view, and that event, how you can respond. Not to harm you, rather to help you. Rather not to harm to that person, to help the person. So now this point, then you have to think about in this way. So it's hard for when you're a weak practitioner to accept that one. So this weakness, this is first we need to identify, I'm weak, I need to strong. Because this weak never going to remain as weak. It's a make it strong, make it strong. So make it strong is now let's create some kind of space in yourself. Because in the past, where I respond, neither helping to that person, nor myself, rather to hurt self and other all the time. So since I heard this 37 practice Bodhisattva, give us new idea. What the new idea is, be positive. So how to be positive is, reason he taking things or she's taking things to me, is lacking something to him or her. That's the reason he or she come and taking things from me. So wish him have more in her or his life. So when he or she have enough, then he or she will stop to taking advantage from others. So you're helping him or her to stopping creating negative karma. At the same time, when you're having such a kind thought towards others, that really stop you to creating negative karma. Rather, it brings you such joy where I respond is very courageous. It shows me strong. Instead I get upset, it makes me something valuable, opportunity to do something to him or her. So in this way, you always it's a therapist. The antidote of a negative is not negative. Antidote of a negative is positive. So positive is the medicine to overcome negative. Negative never free you from negative. So in this way, now you look, person who take advantage from you sees this giving you opportunity to practice Mahayana path. Now, often I'm saying when I give this teaching, we as a Dharma student, very easy to respect our teacher, our Sangha, because we know that live up to Dharma, they teach us such noble things. But when they come to sentient being who cause you trouble, we not much room to respect to them. But here I'm saying, the person who cause you harm or disrespect or difficulties, you should see him or her equally important as a teacher or Sangha, because this person giving us opportunity, what we learned, Dharma. This person giving me opportunity to practice Dharma. Without him or her who causing this trouble, I don't have opportunity to practice Mahayana path. So in this awareness, I should see him or her a favorable condition to my practice Dharma rather than obstacle for my practice Dharma. So in this way, now change, not only just let them to take whatever things taken from me, top of that, whatever virtues that I earned in the past, whatever earning in the present, whatever we're going to earn in the future, all the 3 times of virtues I dedicate to him or her. So this is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Because when you do that, so only not just solving small issues, it's solving big issues. Because we have a coming debt for that person, not only in this life, from beginningless times. So as long as you not purify the coming debt, he or she always going to come back and take advantage from you. So now is the time to purify the coming debt that we have from beginningless time. For instance, if you borrow money from the bank, as long as you not repay, the bankers are going to always chasing after you, always going to come after you. So once you pay the loan, then bankers are going to stop chasing after you. So same thing being taken advantage from us because we have a coming debt. So now is the opportunity to pay back. So in this way, you need to positive psychology in that circumstances. So this again, not only just hearing while we discussion, actually when you're out there, someone take advantage, it's important to remember this 37 practice Bodhisattva. So this is the time to practice Dharma, offer the positive rather than negative. So it's the practice Bodhisattva. Okay, so we end here today, the first post-meditative, all the disadvantage, the material disadvantage, used as a path, make into advantage as a practice Bodhisattva. Okay, thank you very much. Then I'll take some question if you have any question. Please, Lama Ngawang, could you pass my sincere respect and wish happy birthday, Her Eminence, wish her long life and continuous turn wheel of Dharma for all of us.
That's okay.
Thank you. Okay, so, Tashidelek.
I have a question to one of the first, I can't remember, I think it was the sixth one, about the spiritual friend. You said implement the spiritual friend into your meditation. Could you give an example?
I think I mentioned if you have a right spiritual friend that helps you to increase the hearing Buddha Dharma, it kind of help you to grow your interest to hear Buddha Dharma. Also, it help you to increase the more like a contemplation and meditation. Contemplation, it increasing your meditation. I'm not sure implementing of specific spiritual friend. So spiritual friend help you to implementing Buddha Dharma.
Okay, misunderstood. Thank you very much.
It help you to increase, help you to.
In the where you were talking about the verse where you exchange the suffering, exchange one's happiness with others' suffering, and you said that as a beginner, it's not possible to, like say, take on the whole world's suffering at once. So could you maybe give an example of how you start small?
Yeah, sure. Small is say one of your friend or close one say headache, feel awful.
Yeah.
So try and just use that as a exchange. Wish that person's headache come to me. Make me or she be free from the headache.
Yeah.
So that's a simple way I can meditate. So first, as a be human, easier to do this as a person you really care, person you really love. Yeah. So always start from that person. Then eventually you can extend to second easier to person. Then eventually you have to realize in your mind, in this very life, I make this discrimination. Someone is close to me, others are less. But the reality, from beginningless time point of view, they're all equally kind of important to me.
Yeah.
Therefore, I must do this meditation to all beings rather than selective people. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Khenpo?
Yes.
When there's when you're looking at the world and there's someone who is very evil and very cruel and doing horrible things, is there some way to approach in your mind that to think about that person with compassion? It's so difficult. I mean, they're worse off than we are, really, but
yeah,
it's hard to appreciate that.
Yeah. I think it's really important to have a lot of space in your mind first, rather than kind of a really small space and then looking to that person, how he or she did evil things in this world. Then it's not give you any room to compassion to him or her. So you need to create big space first. And then what he or she creating such evil things is a tremendous harm so many people's life, so many beings' life. So all this, whatever they cause this difficulty by this person. So whatever karma going to ripen out of it is unbearable. What he creating himself.
Yeah.
So kind of we only getting maybe say 5% of his negative that cause us trouble, suffering, but 95% of the suffering going to experience by himself. So if you kind of try to see that aspect, that creating your compassion to the poor this person cause so much trouble to other, but and he's going to suffer the most. That's the reality. It's not kind of a Buddhist kind of a belief system. That's how reality.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So more you think of first, it's very hard to develop compassion. More you think about that, more you realize of that, more you really think, oh, this is going to happen to him. Then more you experience, more you are aware. Eventually, your compassion grow from small to the big toward that person.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
if you can't really do that, then best not to think about that person, just to set it aside.
Yeah, that's right. If you really don't have a compassion, there's no room to compassion, at least not to have a negative thought to that person.
Mhm.
Because then it's a contradicting.
Yeah,
You know?
and it's come on
What
you.
is contradicting is like you're not happy what he did to everyone, but then how much you right, you have a negative thought towards him.
Mhm.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's helpful.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we complete here. So we do dedication. Yes, sir.
This hand.
Okay, anyone has a question, please?
Khenpo, just Dr. Dele, just
Right.
in continuation with what you were just saying about thinking compassionately about someone who is causing harm. Where does, from that space of compassion, understanding that they are causing harm, maybe to you, maybe to others, and that's causing more harm to them, how do you show up in a way that maybe to prevent them? What is the best way to, if it is in your power, to prevent them from continuing to cause harm? That is, I guess, positive. Could you suggest how we do that?
Yeah, very good question. First, it's important we know the definition of compassion. Compassion is free others from suffering and cause suffering. Therefore, if you have a power to reach that person to stop negative, you must use that in such a positive way. So compassion not means like let him or her keep doing negative, don't say anything, but sorry to him or her. That's not compassion. Compassion is immediately when you not have a power, you feel that person be free from the suffering. But if you have a power, whatever way, you need to stop him or her, not only just hurting other, but to creating negative karma to himself or herself. So when you stop him or her to creating negative karma, it's a compassion. So either you have to say verbally strong words, or physically you have to show some kind of strong expression, or mentally you have to plan something that you can stop him or her to do wrong things to other is a compassion. Make sense?
Yes, thank you, Khenpo.
Yeah, so compassion not means like always just let them do and then sorry for them. That's not compassion. So compassion means like stop other to creating harm other stopping them to creating their own negative karma. That's what compassion. Anyone else? Okay, so now we do dedication.
So
Yeah,
now
do that.
no,
So to
Mindu,
okay,
no
so now
more.
we okay, dedication.
So now and the Dhamchoe Seba Nyente Ne Nyebe Dana Bhamje Yega Nambe Halo Gamale Bawa Tawara So Jamba Bawe Chidare Kimba Okay, thank you everyone. See you next Wednesday and Thursday.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Khenpo.
Good night, good afternoon.
Good night.